Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick little video over shooting deer and whether or not it's best to shoot a deer when its head's down or it's up. And I think a lot of this deals with the distance of a deer from you. I'm going to say within 20 yards, it's not really going to matter. Now, there will be, from what I've seen, the deer will drop more when its head's down regardless of distance, but at 20 yards you should be able to put that pin right there where you want to shoot that deer, or maybe slightly below, and you should connect very well. Now once you start getting into the 30, 40, 50 on out there range, that's when you've really got to start thinking about what that deer's going to do, and you just never know. But what I have figured out is I've taken some shots at some does out of some of the redneck blinds at 30 yards with their head down, and some of those deer have actually dropped just a tremendous amount, where you can see that arrow flight where it looks like it's going to connect perfectly, and that deer at 30 yards is able to drop when that head's down. Now I've also got video there where at 20 yards, again the deer is his head's down feeding, and I connect with the deer perfectly. Deer ran 80 yards, she expired. Now the other thing to keep in mind is your angle. So I harvested a buck there back in 2020 out of a hay bale redneck blind. He was working his way out there, and I was able to draw back. He was actually slightly elevated front to me, but I was actually able to stop that deer. His head was up. He was around 32 yards, and I punched him, and it hit exactly where I wanted to hit him at. So the other thing about that, you definitely got to keep your elevation, in check, your angles, and then, I killed a deer there in Kansas last year. It was actually at a feeder, and what was kind of interesting about this is, and I've started seeing a lot more videos of this, and I think there's something to this. If a deer's at the feeder and he's eating, harvesting, his head is up, and his actually head is outward. So same as what a deer would be at a scrape, if he is trying to lick that branch and scent check that vine, whatever he's doing, where his head is actually almost exposed in a way where his ability to be able to drop that arrow will be a lot slower. So I think that the biggest thing here I want to cover is you've got to make sure that you understand what that deer is going to do, which is extremely hard. But always keep in mind, at 20 yards you should be able to directly put that pin on that animal regardless of the elevation changes. Once you get out past that 30 yards, that's when you're really going to start having to play that drop. So if that deer is all the way down feeding or licking or whatever he's doing, or drinking water, I would put that pin quite a bit lower, probably closer to that bottom of that chest. Allow that arrow to drop, or drop in where that deer is going to drop in. I think you'll connect very well there the majority of the time. And then once you get out to that 40, 50 yards, now you're really going to start having to guess, and I will not take a shot at 40 yards or further if that deer's head is down. It's just something I found out in the past that I just don't feel comfortable with that, because that deer can flat drop in a heartbeat. He can drop at 30 yards, so that's an extra 10 yards the arrow's got to fly before it even makes impact. So always keep that in mind. Number one, 20 yards, put the pin where you want it, harvest the deer. 30 yards, if the deer's head's down, then I would aim lower. And then if his head's up, I would aim probably between the midpoint of where you would at 20 and then 30, and then again at 40 on out there. You're definitely going to want to make sure, if you do take that shot, that you are playing that drop, because chances are that deer will figure out that arrow is coming, and he will drop, and you will not harvest that deer or you'll wound him. So hopefully this helps you guys out on determining when to take that shot, where that deer's head at, and how to determine the best shot placement. So appreciate you guys liking the video. Like always, hopefully you guys are getting out there in nature, and best luck on your upcoming hunt.